Hello friends and welcome to Shauna Stitches. I'm Shauna and this is my crafty podcast where I talk about all the things that I've been working on lately. This is episode 50. Finally, after years, we've made it to 50. It seems like a real achievement. Today is June the 6th, 2022, and I don't know. I lost my train of thought already. We just started. Anyhow, I do have some show notes on my phone. I'm not fancy enough to have them printed out today, but I do have something to hopefully keep me on track. If you are new here, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. And if you're returning, thank you for coming back. I appreciate it every single time. And I love to see your guys' comments. I'm usually pretty quick at responding. So if you have any questions, comments, whatever, I'd love to hear from you. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram at Shauna Stitches. That's where I'm most active. I do have every single project I've ever started probably on Ravelry. And if for some reason you can't access Ravelry, that's what's linked below. Then send me a message or leave a comment and I can get you the information some other way. All right, so we're going to jump right into some finished objects. I thought for a moment I didn't have any finished objects. That's what happens when you don't record for a minute. And on that note, I should say that this has been like a week and a half since the last podcast, and that's really good for what I've been doing in the last couple years. I meant to record sooner, but some life stuff happened, all good things, but I've just been busy, which is strange for me. Other than work's always busy. So anyway, I have not one Straya hat, but two Straya hats. I have a size large. This one is for my husband. And the white is just an undyed sock blank that I had. And the colors are all little, I think they were 10-gram minis that I had in my stash. And I really like how it came out. The stitch pattern is half fisherman's rib. So it makes a nice squishy, stretchy fabric. It's similar to brioche, but I guess some would argue that it's easier to knit. I don't find brioche to be super hard to knit, so that's not really too much of a concern for me. One thing that I will say, I got smart on my second hat, which is the one I knit for me. On my husband's, I wove in all the ends after the fact, and this was a lot of ends. I don't know, I can't count, but you can see all of them hanging there. They have been woven in. I just leave them kind of long in case they start to work their way loose. For my hat, I got smart and wove them in as I was knitting, and it certainly made the finishing process at the end so much faster. I will mess up my hair and show you what this looks like. Yeah, it's just a little beanie. It fits really well. I should say I did make the medium size for me. And it fits really good, just a little bit of room at the top, which is great because when my hair does get longer, I tend to wear it in a bun. So it's just enough room for a little bun back there. And yeah, I like this pattern. It knit up quite fast. I used the other half of the sock blank for my hat and 4 other minis that I had in stash. The sort of dirty pink color, which I'm not sure who that's by, was a little remnant in my stash, and the others were all 10-gram minis, probably from row 1. But yeah, I really like these. This was Andrea Mowry's 4-day challenge that she does. I think this was her 4th or 5th year doing it. And the very first year was the Harlow hat, and I made one for my husband and I then, and that is by far his most worn hat. That was a brioche hat, and so I'm hoping that this one will also get a ton of wear. Luckily, my husband is very knit-worthy. All right, on to works in progress. That was all my finished objects. The first one that I'm going to show you is my Oregon Shetland lace shawl, which I did show last podcast. And I was even so smart, I put in a progress keeper there. That's where I was the last time I showed you. So you can see I've added quite a bit. I think you can even see the lace pattern there pretty well. For the most part, the lace in the shawl has been very easy. And I couldn't tell you what hard lace is because I've never done really hard lace. But I'm going to tell you that this last chart, which was chart D, so the 4th section in the pattern, it was hard. Oh, of course, I'm getting a phone call and I'm expecting a call from the vet, so I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. And I'm expecting another call back from them, so I will give a little update on what's going on in the life update portion. So anyway, I was talking about the lace. I don't know, I've never done super hard lace, but there were probably 4 rows of this where you did the lace on the front and the back, and I don't know what it was about it, but it hurt my brain to think about doing lace on the back. I managed my way through, as I said in our little discussion group, 1 stitch at a time, and truly that was all I could manage, was just thinking about 1 stitch at a time. So if you look at the last couple of rows here, the chart D ended really after the first garter pair that you see, and I'm adding some extra rows. The reason I'm adding extra is because after I was done with chart D, I still had 150 grams of this 250 gram cake. Actually, Hobby Twister was very generous, and it started at 260 grams. But regardless, I need 350-ish yards for the border, and I have way more than that. Yeah, I have somewhere 500, 600, something like that, grams left. And if you can see the inside there, I have just a little bit more of the only teal section. I'm hoping to make it to the gray and teal before I start the beads, because the border has beads, and I have these, which will show up in the teal also. But I think they would show up a little bit better in the gray section. So it's kind of hard to see. Oh, that shows it pretty well. But they, I think I mentioned last time, they remind me of an oil slick. They have that really pretty sort of iridescent color changing sheen to them. So that's exciting. I'm trying to figure out where to put this where it's not on the floor with the dog hair, because when you have 3 dogs, there's dog hair. And not covering the stuff I still need to talk about. All right, the next thing I have to show you actually has an FO involved, but I didn't include it in the FO portion, and I will tell you why. But I'm going to show you the FO portion first. I don't think you've ever seen these, and I can't remember if I put them on Instagram or not, but if you had seen them, it was in June of 2021, so an entire year ago. And these are knit for my mother-in-law. They are the Rainbow Connection socks, patterned by Kay Litton of the Crazy Sock Lady, in a Ice Yarns Magic sock, and the white is a Premier. So this is a self-striping yarn. I could see these being made out of Felici. They would be so awesome, and I think you could get a whole pair. Well, I know you could get a whole pair out of 150 gram skein. So those are a finished pair. I love these. I have enough yarn left over to make a pair for me, and I can't wait because they're so pretty. But a half-finished object is the sock that I started for my father-in-law. Same exact pattern, same yarns, except for that the dark color, to me it looks gray, but I think the label says it's blue. I don't know, but the same similar ice yarns. It's a self-striping. And I started these, like I said, right after I finished my mother-in-law's pair. So June of 2021, I was, see, these are cuffed down. So I was right in here somewhere. I remember I was still doing the gusset decreases, and I finished the first sock. Yay me for picking up an old whip. Yay, I said I was going to start shopping my stash, and I mostly have. Well, I will say I haven't bought anything, but I did start something new. So anyway, I did start the cuff on the second one. It's just a cuff. It's ready to go to start the pattern, which has kind of like been my mental roadblock because I do still have to look at the pattern. Once I have it established, it's much easier, but getting started, I definitely need to look and see what's next. This is the yarn that I'm using for the color B or whatever you want to call it, the dark color Premier Yarns. Nothing fancy. It's something I got at Joann's way back in the day. And the color, yeah, it says navy. Do you see navy there? I'm usually pretty good with color, but that looks like gray to me. So anyway, and this is the ice yarn. And they don't have color names. They probably don't even make this anymore, but it's color 45742 Magic Sock. This is my favorite yarn base. A 7525 is always my favorite. It just seems more hard wearing. Okay, now what do we have next? Oh yes, my cast on. You guys, I was so bad. I don't know why. I just got the urge to cast this on. And this is the, doesn't look like anything yet. It's the Ripple Camisole by Jessie May in the most wonderful yarn. So pretty. This is a yarn to die for in her Birdie Bott's Delicious Beans color. So that's a Harry Potter candy reference, I do believe. But it's just so fun to knit up. I love the neon speckles. It's just awesome. I did not gauge swatch. I'm knitting a size large, which technically for my size, I should knit a size medium, but I want it to be a bit looser. And my gauge sometimes tends to be on the tighter side. So I'm hoping between those two things, it kind of evens out. I'll be really disappointed if it doesn't fit, but I mean, even there on the needle's not stretched out. I mean, I know it's not like around me, but I think it's gonna be fine. The question is whether or not I'll feel comfortable wearing it without a shirt over it, and the answer might very well be no. So anyway, this is a little mention to life stuff, but we finally booked a trip. I've been trying to decide if I want to do Mexico or stay in the States because of the whole testing thing and just everything. Travel seems a bit weird lately. And no matter what trip that we thought about, I just felt like, oh, it's not like a vacation. It just doesn't feel like vacation. So we're going back to Mexico, and I'm hoping to have that for Mexico, although it might just be way too hot regardless. All right. Oh, I still forgot to grab something. That's okay. I'll cover this first. The next thing that I've been working on is, I'm dropping stuff. It's a sock spin. Well, no, sorry, it's not a sock spin. It's a summer countdown mini skein spin. Hold on, I have the box behind me. So I have all these little minis from Pearly Shell, and they even included this really pretty drop spindle, which I haven't used yet. And it says it's orange sea sediment, and I think the color's jasper, or I don't know what that means, but it's so cool. Anyway, I want to use that, but I'm terribly slow at a drop spindle, so I have been using my electric eel wheel 6, and I have done the first 4 days. Aren't these so cool? I love the colors. I'm slightly disappointed that days 3 and 4, this is 3 and this is 4, they're like identical. I really don't think you can tell the difference at all. But these are days 1 and 2, and you can definitely tell the difference there. This is day 1. It's a light pink to a little bit darker pink with some purple and some white. Love that. Day 2 is more pink, more purple, a little more barber poling, which is controversial, but I like most of the time. And then, as I said, days 3 and 4 are just these very neon pinks. They're probably completely blowing out the screen, but if you're seeing neon pink, trust me, that is what they are. And then because days 3 and 4 were so close, I was worried that they're just going to keep being these really bright pinks and not change, because I had no idea, like, are these a gradient? They certainly seem to be a gradient so far, but where's this going by days 4? You can't really tell when you have 21 different little packages. But, oh no, my fiber's stuck. Okay, here we go. This is day 5. Isn't that so pretty? I think, honestly, even though it's pink and orange, I'm just happy to have something other than bright pink, which is weird for me if you know me. I love me some bright pink. So yeah, and then there was the one thing that I was going to grab, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. What I have to show you is in this box. If you remember seeing this box before, this is the same one I used for my 12 at a time socks. And no, I'm not crazy enough to do that again. I have in here my EPP. This is the Pasa Kagia quilt that I started. There is Rosette 1. I still have the papers in the outside because that's what you're supposed to do, but they're taken out of the middle section. And I'm quite happy with how this has come out. I don't feel like I'm great at picking colors, but check out those little birds. Aren't they so cute? So I have them so that they each face each other like that. Each little pair faces each other. I had a little stall when I was working on this the first time because I pasted these, because I glue based, I glued these birds so that their heads were at the point, and then realized that they actually should go where the heads are at a flat spot. And I don't know why that was so hard for my brain to figure out, because to me, I thought that the head should go at the point. So I had to rip those all off and re-glue them, which really wasn't that bad, but it felt bad at the time. So yeah, once I did that, I was able to make a lot of progress. This is the finished rosette, but this is one of the smaller ones. I have started one of the bigger ones, but it starts exactly as a small one. And it's obviously not very far along. I actually have not worked on this since my last podcast, but I meant to show it to you then and forgot, and I almost forgot this time. So I wanted to for sure show you that. What I do is I go ahead and glue baste all of the shapes for the rosette that I'm working on. That way it's just ready to go. And so I'm not going to show them all to you, but you can see some of the colors I'm using. Those are really pretty. I've got different flowers. I don't know. It's just really fun. Look at that one. Isn't that beautiful? I know, it's got kind of a country vibe going. So, I don't know. I don't have a ton of time that I work on this, but when I do sit down to work on it, I'm really enjoying it. I have been so lazy when it comes to quilting. I still have a quilt that I need to get in the mail that I just need to finish sewing on the binding, and I did like 2 pieces of thread, and it's just been sitting on the chair, the back of the chair over there, staring at me, telling me that I need to work on it, but instead I work on everything but. Yeah, I don't know why it is when I have a deadline or really need to get something done, I just can't seem to get it done. All right, so I just want to make a quick mention. I know many people talk about what they're watching or reading, and I normally don't, but we are currently watching the most new season of Stranger Things. We have the last episode to go, and I'm loving it. And of course, I have to go to work tonight, so I will not be watching it tonight. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday night, but it's like 2 hours long. I can't wait. My husband broke it to me that he thinks this is the very final season, and I'm a bit crushed. I just love that show. I don't know what it is, but maybe it reminds me of my childhood. Not that we had monsters that we were chasing or anything, but I just think the retro vibe kind of, I don't know, I enjoy it. So as I mentioned, I got a call from the vet. We're on life stuff now. So I took all 3 dogs to the vet on, funny, I'm getting a call from the vet as I said that. Hold on. Okay, I think that is the last interruption I should have. Anyway, I was talking about the vet, and I took all 3 dogs on Friday after I got off from work, and Cody, who you can't really see, maybe you can see his nose, he knows I'm talking about him. Anyway, he's been having a lot of seizures lately. In fact, he had 2 just before Friday, and then he had 1 yesterday. And one of the medications he's on is for seizures, and they had to do a bunch of blood work. Needless to say, other than his blood work, all they had were their shots so that they could go to the kennel. And holy crap, it was nearly $1,000. I had sticker shock because, yeah, they've had some stuff done that was like surgery and having to put them under, and that was expensive. In no way, shape, or form was I expecting a $1,000 vet bill for what I view to be like essentially nothing. It's just routine stuff. But anyway, they upped Cody's seizure medication, and he still has had another seizure since then. So they're adding another seizure medication, which is just a lot. He takes more medications than Glenn or I, and yeah, it's a good thing. We love him. So yes, everyone else checked out fine. Fiona has a little growth under her armpit that we have to keep an eye on, and if it gets bigger, then we'll have to get that removed, but that's something for later. So Rudy's doing okay. He has days where he wants to eat, and he has days where he doesn't want to eat, but his weight's back up, so that's good. And, oh yes, I closed my notes. What else? Oh yes, I got to meet with someone that I know from Instagram. They were coming through the area where I live and asked if I wanted to meet up for coffee, and we did, and we had such a great time. It's so, I don't know, I just feel like knitters are just awesome people, and I can say almost entirely every single knitter I've met, it's just like you have that instant connection. You have something that you can talk about even if you don't have anything else, and that certainly wasn't the case. We had a lot to talk about, but yeah, it was a really great time. And I would just say if someone hits you up on Instagram or something, someone that you've had contact with for a while, let me rephrase that, no one creepy, and they say that they're coming through your area, or do you want to meet up at Fiberfest or something, like totally go for it. It's fun. Other than that, like I met up with another old friend pretty recently, also for coffee, and it's just been really good to reconnect with some people who, reconnect or connect for the first time with some people who either I haven't talked to in a long time or I've never met in person. So that's been a lot of fun. And as I mentioned earlier, we are planning our vacation. I am so excited. I'm a little worried just because flights seem to keep getting canceled and that sort of thing, but originally we were supposed to be going on a cruise. I can't remember everywhere the cruise was going, but we were supposed to fly into Denmark, and one of the stops was Russia. So originally they rescheduled that and said, you'll go to Poland instead. And then like the very next day after that changed, they canceled it completely. And, you know, we were supposed to go to Norway and I think Finland and just, I don't know, a lot of places that I was really excited to go. So I was very bummed. And that's why I was saying just these sort of local vacations just didn't feel like vacation, because I was looking forward to going somewhere different. So that being said, we're going back to the same area, actually the same resort that we've already been to in Mexico one of the times, and it was our very first trip there. We loved it, and so I'm really looking forward to going back. I just feel like getting there and getting back home are going to be the stressful parts of the trip, but hopefully it will all be worth it. Just when I thought I was done, I remembered that I had something that didn't make it into my show notes. I mended some of my husband's socks. These are commercial socks. I did a woven patch, and I used the Katrinkles weaving loom. So I have 3 socks that I finished of his. And I'm telling you, these things had holes. You can barely even see that patch, but anyway, I wasn't worried about them blending in exactly. I used a self-striping Patton's Croy, so they're all the same yarn. But yeah, let me see if the hole shows from the inside exactly what I was dealing with. Well, it doesn't quite do it justice. I think I have some photos I'll insert, but that was, you can see where the whole hole was, but it was just threadbare. And he says, oh, could you fix these? And I'm thinking, you probably should have given these to me a bit sooner because they were bad. Here's another one where you can really see the contrast. Like you can see the woven part from the inside. That's how threadbare these were. So yeah, I have some things to work on. Hopefully I'll have something to show you either in a week or two. And thanks again for watching. And as I said before, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Bye.